Imagine you're hiring 20 new employees. Now imagine having to buy 20 laptops for them. Then, a few months later, your team grows again. You need another 10. And before you know it, you're spending a huge amount of money on equipment that starts losing value the moment you buy it. For a growing business, that's not always the smartest way to manage your IT budget. So, what if you could get the laptops your team needs without putting a large amount of capital into hardware? That's where long-term laptop rentals come in. Welcome to the Rental Bunny podcast. We are India's leading B2B IT rental products and service provider. We specialize in delivering reliable and efficient rental solutions tailored to the needs of businesses. From iPhones to iMacs, laptops to MacBooks, we offer a wide range of high-quality products to meet your corporate requirements. We're here to talk about smarter ways businesses can manage their technology, from laptops and desktops to flexible IT equipment solutions. In today's episode, we're looking at why more businesses are choosing long-term laptop rentals instead of buying. We'll talk about the cost of renting laptops for business, how renting compares with buying and leasing, what affects rental prices, the hidden terms you should check, and how to get the right rental solution for your company. So let's get started. Why are businesses moving towards laptop rentals? Technology changes quickly. A laptop that feels powerful today can start looking outdated in just a few years. For a business, constantly replacing hardware can become expensive, and it's not just the cost of the laptop itself. You also have to think about maintenance, upgrades, storage, repairs, and eventually what happens to the old equipment. This becomes even more noticeable when you're managing a large team. Buying 20 laptops is one expense. Buying 100 is a completely different financial commitment. That's why many businesses are looking at rental models. Instead of putting a large amount of money into hardware upfront, companies can rent the equipment they need for as long as they need it. It gives businesses more flexibility while reducing the pressure of owning equipment that loses value over time. Next, let's understand laptop rental costs for businesses in India. One of the biggest advantages of renting laptops is how it can help with cash flow. When you buy a business laptop, you have to pay the full purchase price upfront. Multiply that by 20, 50, or 100 employees, and the capital requirement can become significant. With a rental model, that large upfront expense becomes a more predictable operating cost. Depending on the rental provider and agreement, services may include procurement, delivery, setup, maintenance, and technical support. That means your business can keep more of its capital available for areas that directly drive growth. Maybe that's hiring, maybe it's marketing, maybe it's product development, or simply maintaining a healthy cash reserve. Rental pricing can also be scaled according to your requirements. Whether you're a startup expanding its team or an established company handling a temporary project, you can choose the number of laptops and rental period based on your needs. Should businesses rent, lease, or buy? So, which option makes more sense for a business? Let's compare the three. First, buying. When you buy a laptop, you own it. That's the obvious advantage. But you're also tying up your capital in an asset that loses value over time. You also take responsibility for maintenance, upgrades, repairs, and eventual disposal. Second, leasing. Leasing can spread the cost over a longer period, but financial leases may come with fixed contracts and specific conditions. For some businesses, those commitments may not offer enough flexibility, and then there's laptop rental. With rental, businesses can access the hardware they need without purchasing it outright. You can choose the configuration you need, rent it for a defined period, and scale your inventory as your requirements change. For companies with changing teams, temporary projects, events, or rapid expansion, that flexibility can be particularly useful. Now let's discuss what determines laptop rental prices. Now let's talk about something every business wants to know. What will it actually cost? There isn't one fixed rental price. Several factors affect the final cost. The first is hardware configuration. A standard office laptop won't cost the same as a high-performance workstation or a premium MacBook. Then there's quantity. If you're renting laptops in bulk, the price per device may be different from a small individual order. The rental duration also matters. Longer rental periods may offer different rates compared with short-term rentals. And finally, there's location and logistics. Delivery, setup, deployment, and on-site support can vary depending on where the equipment needs to be delivered. That's why it's always better to request a quotation based on your actual requirements rather than relying on a general rental price. Don't forget the fine print. Before signing a laptop rental agreement, there are a few things you should always check. First, the security deposit. Understand whether a deposit is required, how much it is, and when it will be returned. Second, maintenance and support. Find out exactly what's included. If a laptop stops working, who handles the repair? Is remote support included? What happens if a hardware component fails? Third, accidental damage. Don't assume every type of damage is automatically covered. Ask about cracked screens, liquid spills, physical damage, and other accidental issues. And finally, check the termination clause. What happens if you need to return the laptops earlier than planned? Understanding these terms before signing can help prevent unexpected costs later. How to get a laptop rental quote for your business. Once you've decided that renting makes sense, getting a quotation is fairly straightforward. Start by figuring out exactly what your team needs. Think about the processor, RAM, storage, operating system, and any other requirements specific to your employees. Then decide how many laptops you need. Next, determine how long you'll need them. And finally, provide the delivery location. Once a rental provider has these details, they can recommend suitable configurations and prepare a quotation based on your requirements. This is particularly useful for companies placing bulk orders because the right provider can help you plan the entire deployment rather than simply supplying individual laptops. Why long-term rental can make sense. So let's bring everything together. Long-term laptop rental isn't simply about avoiding the cost of buying a laptop. It's about giving your business more flexibility. You don't have to commit a large amount of capital to hardware. You can scale your equipment as your team changes. You can avoid being stuck with outdated devices. And depending on your agreement, you can also leave maintenance and technical support to the rental provider. For growing businesses, that can mean one less IT headache to deal with. Your team can focus on the work that actually moves the business forward, while your technology requirements remain flexible. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. We've looked at why businesses are increasingly considering long-term laptop rentals, how rental compares with buying and leasing, what affects rental costs, and the important terms you should check before signing an agreement. The right choice will depend on your business, your budget, your team size, and how long you need the equipment. But if your business is growing, scaling quickly, or simply wants more flexibility with its IT equipment, laptop rental can be worth considering. If you found this episode useful, like, share, and subscribe to the Rental Bunny podcast for more conversations about business technology, IT equipment, and smarter ways to manage your workplace. And if you're looking for laptops for your team, whether it's one device or a bulk laptop rental requirement, visit rentalbunny.com to explore Rental Bunny's laptop rental solutions or get in touch with the team for a quotation based on your requirements. Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep your business moving, keep your technology flexible, and we'll see you in the next episode.